I'm Anna Garcia, right now on True Crime News. The verdict is in.
I can't breathe, babe.
Sarah Boone, the woman who left her boyfriend to die, zipped inside a suitcase, convicted of murder. The latest from her wild trial and the letter she sent directly to True Crime News. Plus, rideshare nightmare. A college senior hops in a car. Little does she know the driver is a predator searching for prey.
He then jumps the curve to get to her really quickly.
Her body is found stabbed multiple times.
They stopped counting after 120 times.
Can cops catch her killer before he strikes again?
Go and run! Hey, I'm gonna release the dog!
Your daily source for true crime starts right now. Let's get right to our top story today. She went through 9 attorneys, gave 5 hours of testimony, and on Friday, 4.5 years after zipping her boyfriend in a suitcase and recording him as he suffocated to death, Sarah Boone was convicted of second-degree murder. Now she is facing the possibility of life in prison.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information.
Murder. That was the unanimous verdict in the 10-day trial of the so-called suitcase killer, Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone, the jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree.
It took only 90 minutes for the jury to come to a unanimous decision Friday night. The 6-member jury, 5 women and 1 man, were unswayed by the defense testimony that the killing of Jorge Torres Jr. was an act of self-defense.
Sarah. Sarah.
Stupid.
I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you chewing on me.
Sarah.
Juror seat number 1, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror seat number 2, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror seat number 3, is this your true and correct verdict?
This entire trial, she'd walked out every day, kind of smiling, chit-chatting with her lawyers, and then she was kind of laser focused on the case. She really didn't have much of a reaction when this guilty verdict was read, but you can see that her cheeks were a little flushed.
That included testimony earlier in the week from Sarah herself, who sought to portray Jorge Torres Jr. as the aggressor in a game of hide-and-seek in a suitcase that went horribly wrong.
He thought it would be funny to be put in the suitcase, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna joke with you and I'll zip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep.
This was at the center of the case. This police body cam video and then the highly charged video shot by Sarah Boone herself that made national headlines and spiked social media views.
Sarah. Sarah.
So you just left
I
him there
didn't
to
kill
teach
him.
You left him there to teach him a lesson?
I didn't mean to leave him there.
But despite Sarah clearly ignoring Torres's pleas for oxygen, she told jurors what they don't see is an off-camera escape attempt where Torres got one hand free.
My fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase knowing that it was a broken suitcase.
Which she claimed required her to stuff him back inside the luggage with a baseball bat.
Knew the tone, and we ended up, I guess, arguing back and forth with one another, and the things that he was saying very much frightened me.
When he was in the suitcase, he was threatening you. Can you tell the jury what he was saying?
That he was going to end me.
But the jury didn't buy it, rejecting Sarah's defense under oath that she suffered from battered spouse syndrome despite a history of assault between the couple. It was a vindication for Jorge Torres' surviving family, who spent every day of the trial in the front row of the court gallery, leaving only when the video of Jorge suffocating was played for jurors just hours before the jury rendered its verdict.
Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably
Sarah.
Now, Judge Michael Kranick will sentence Sarah at a hearing scheduled for December 2nd, but state prosecutors believe justice has already been served.
This is a very horrific homicide. Nobody really should have to endure this type of struggle and fight for their lives and have to die alone, begging for their last breath inside of a suitcase.
Sarah Boone wrote to True Crime News in August saying, "The world has been having fun with my case since day one. I am nothing more than an oddity to be jeered at and joked about. The surprise is that I keep walking out of the ring in one piece and a smile on my face." She went on to say, "It's not about winning the battles, it's about winning the war. People will remember me one way or the other, and hopefully the right way in the end." Boone's ninth attorney, James Owens, who took the case after Boone put an ad on social media, is already off the case. Boone is planning an appeal.
We're disappointed. Sarah's disappointed. But we feel like she's got a couple of pretty good appellate issues, and just, Sarah's plight's not over.
When we come back, a college student accidentally hops in the wrong car and is driven away to her death. A rideshare warning that everyone needs to see. If you've ever used a rideshare service, you're going to want to pay close attention to this story. Like most of us, Samantha Josephson didn't think twice before she hopped into a car she thought she'd ordered, but it was the last ride she'd ever take. It's 2 a.m. on a weekend. Bars in the 5 Points neighborhood in downtown Columbia, South Carolina are about to close, and college kids are pouring out onto the street. Samantha Josephson, a senior at the University of South Carolina, has decided to call it a night.
Samantha and her friends had decided to go out and kind of celebrate. School year was ending. They were all going to graduate and go their separate ways, so they kind of wanted to go and hang out.
An Uber is on the way to pick her up, but she's not sure which one is hers.
She tries to get into one car, and it's not her Uber. You clearly see some other people come up to that car, and she backs away. She continues to look at her phone.
Meanwhile, this Chevy Impala has been driving around in circles for several minutes.
He goes through the parking lot, and you can see the car. He kind of sits at the sidewalk, and he can see her get a second time try to get into the wrong car. He then jumps the curve to get to her really quickly.
Behind the wheel, a predator in search of prey.
And it is a black sedan, what she's looking for, and she gets into the back of the car, and he drives away.
Tragically, this is the last ride Samantha Sammy Josephson will ever take. The next morning, Sammy's friends check her room. She isn't in bed. They figure she may have crashed somewhere else. But when she doesn't show up at her job, they're alarmed. They track her iPhone, and they notice that during the night, it stopped pinging.
So they immediately start calling law enforcement. They call her parents to see if they know where she is. They call her boyfriend to see if maybe he came in town and that's who has her, and no one knows where she is.
That's when Seymour and Marcy Josephson get the most nightmarish phone call imaginable for any parent from Sammy's boyfriend, Greg.
So Marcy immediately called me. She goes, "Did you speak to Greg or any of the roommates?" I said, "No." "Why, what's up?" And she said, "Samantha's missing." I said, "Get home now. We're going straight down." I don't know what made me. It was just something in my gut. It was a panic.
Samantha was their baby. Growing up in New Jersey, she and her older sister played basketball, and Sammy also loved acting.
She always lit up the room. She had a great personality. She was a prankster.
And she was smart, planning to go to law school in the fall on a full scholarship. Now, as her parents head south, her father has a bad feeling.
I remember driving very, 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 very fast. At one point, South Carolina police called me saying, "All right, what's your ETA?" I hung up and I mumbled to myself saying, this is not good. This is not going to end well.
But it wasn't police who immediately went to work looking for Samantha. It was her friends. They initiate their own investigation, heading to the bar from the night before and asking to see their surveillance video.
And that is when we start learning that she got into the black sedan, as you're able to see her in the bird dog with her friends. You're able to see her standing outside, and then you're able to see her get into this black sedan.
Her friends showed the footage to police, and they put out a bolo. Be on the lookout for the black sedan. But before they even locate it, a grisly discovery. Then, more than an hour away from Columbia, 2 hunters find Samantha's body in a field. As her parents arrive at the police station in Columbia, they're ushered straight into a conference room.
Nothing felt right. Everything felt way off and too cold. They had a table of a couple police officers, somebody from the university, and then the coroner. It's the worst nightmare.
The Josephsons now learn the horrifying truth. Once inside that vehicle the night before, Samantha couldn't get out. The driver had activated the child-proof locks. Then, at some point, he stabbed her over and over and over.
The coroner said that they stopped counting after 120 times because it didn't matter.
She is cut from head to toe. She has literally stab wounds from her head all the way down through her feet. She had evidence of defensive wounds from fighting. She also had cut marks to her chest, her body, but her cause of death was she bled out.
Samantha's wounds were so gruesome, her parents were not allowed to identify her. Who could be capable of this level of violence, and why? More importantly, where was this monster? When we come back, police in Columbia, South Carolina are on a mission to find Samantha's killer before he strikes again. And they're about to make a dramatic arrest. But just who is the man in the black Impala?
Hey, get over here! Go on, run! Hey, I'm gonna release the dog!
We're back with Samantha Josephson's tragic last ride. The University of South Carolina senior was found stabbed after she mistakenly got into the wrong car, thinking that it was the one that she ordered. Police are searching for a killer on the loose, and they're about to get a lucky break. It's only been a few hours since 2 hunters found Sammy's lifeless body in a rural area an hour from where she got into a vehicle she believed was a rideshare. Now police are on the lookout for that black Chevy Impala seen on surveillance footage near the bar. It didn't take long. Late Saturday night, there it is, a black Impala going the wrong way down a one-way street in the same neighborhood where Sammy was picked up the night before. Police pull the car over. Behind the wheel is 25-year-old Nathaniel Rowland.
As the law enforcement officer steps out of his car, walks up towards Nathaniel Rowland's car, he smells marijuana.
Who's smoking the marijuana?
I had smoked some earlier, sir, when I was at home.
All right, man, you got to step on out, man.
And he starts to try to tell him why he stopped him, and Nathaniel Rowland takes off.
Hey, get over here! Go on, run! Hey, I'm gonna release the dog!
I got him. Get on the ground. Stop me.
Police search Rowland's car, but abruptly stop when they find some suspicious items, including a phone that turns out to belong to Sammy. Even more incriminating,
the back seat was covered in blood. There was blood in the floor mats and on the seat. There was blood on the ceiling. There was blood everywhere in that car.
And crime scene investigators find suspicious items needed to dispose of a body, including rope and Clorox. In the glove compartment, an envelope with an address and the name Maria on it. Maria turns out to be Rowland's girlfriend. She cooperates.
And as they are searching her house, they find what we called a multi-tool, but it essentially is a 2-pronged knife that was covered with blood. They found his clothing, which had blood on it as well, and she started talking about things he had done all day that were indicators to her that something was going wrong.
Investigators arrest Nathaniel Rowland and charge him with kidnapping, murder, and possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. For the next 2+ years, prosecutors build their case, laying it all out for a jury. Images of Rowland hunting for a victim.
Nathaniel Rowland's Impala comes driving by as she's standing by herself, circling, lurking like a shark.
Surveillance photos of Rowland in the hours after he murdered Samantha. Cell phone records showing Rowland in New Zion, his hometown, where he disposed of Samantha's body.
This was a straight body dump.
And DNA evidence under Roland's fingernails, in his car, on his clothes. But one piece of evidence will forever haunt prosecutor April Sampson.
Samantha fought. She fought for her life. And one of the things she did, and it will always be chilling to me, is she kicked the window and left her footprint on the window. And it just showed how hard she fought in that car. And we were able to match that footprint.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
After the jury found Nathaniel Rowland guilty on all counts, Judge Clifton Newman offered Rowland a chance to speak.
I know I'm innocent. But I guess what I know and what I think really doesn't matter.
And I'm not a small guy, I'm 6'2", 240, and I'm just thinking, how can I get to this son of a bitch?
After calling Rowland heartless, the judge rendered his verdict.
The sentence in this case is easy. The sentence of the court for murder is that you be committed to the State Department of Corrections for life.
Sammy's parents are on a mission to turn their tragedy into something positive. Their foundation, What's My Name, educates people about rideshare safety and holds annual fundraisers and events, including a 5K race to honor Samantha's memory. Samantha's family has been working closely with their congressman to create a federal Sammy's Law, which would make it mandatory for rideshare companies to issue a 4-digit PIN when a ride is ordered. The passenger tells the driver the PIN, and the driver can only start the ride once they enter that same PIN into the app on their phone. The passenger's phone vibrates when they match.
So it does 3 things. 1, it confirms that you're in the right car. B, it confirms that you're not getting into the wrong car, and it confirms that you're not getting into a car that's fake.
They've even enlisted celebrities to help get the word out.
Hi, I'm Jason Alexander.
I'm Darius Rucker. Before you get into the car, stop.
A is for ask.
Match the car and the license plate before you get in.
The I stands for inform.
It will never make things better, but the Josephsons hope it will make things safer.
What happened to Sammy should never happen again.
The Josephsons have managed to create a federal rideshare safety bill. Sammy's Law requires rideshare vehicles to have placards in the front of the car, not just on the sides. And remember, before you get into a rideshare car, be sure to ask the driver, "What's my name?" If they don't have the answer, don't get in. For more information, go to whatsmyname.org. On the next True Crime News, an officer chasing suspects calls for backup. Minutes later, he's dead, his family in grief.
And then the nightmare began. And all I want to do is wake up from it.
The city in mourning. Then police started asking questions.
And that's when all the rumors spread.
And cops start digging. Was this heroic cop really killed in the line of duty, or was it a staged cover-up? On the next True Crime News. For the latest breaking crime news, go to truecrimenews.com. Watch more exclusive content on our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast, and follow us at My True Crime News. Now some unbelievable new video you have to see. Sheriff's deputies and firefighters in Ohio dramatically rescue a woman trapped in a fire. The woman is stuck in her basement as flames and smoke fill the air. Rescuers smash a window and call out for her to follow their voices. As the fire grows, officers take a sledgehammer to the wall, and the fire chief lowers himself down to rescue the woman. Miraculously, she makes it out unscathed. Please give thanks to those heroes today on National First Responders Day and every day. That's it for today's True Crime News. I'm Anna Garcia. See you next time, everyone. Crime doesn't stop, neither do we.